Peace. I had a psychedelic mushroom trip on the 17th of February. And within that trip, I was presented with some imagery. I was presented with imagery that was really putting me in a place of gratitude. This particular trip was one of those trips that was it was serious. It was one of those trips that it wasn't a bad trip, but it was right there at one of those scary trips. But it was a trip because there's no really such thing as a bad trip. It's all in how you see it. But in every trip that you have, is something there for you to learn and take away from that you can benefit from in any and all trips that you have. And so within this particular trip, it was almost like Thanos, if you've ever seen Thanos in Endgame, Avengers Endgame, when Thanos acquires all of the Infinity Stones, and he has these stones in the glove, and he bends his hand and snaps his finger, and all of the Avengers started disintegrating like dust. And in that moment, I saw I've lost people who were near and dear to me, yes. But I grew up with my mom and my father in the same household. They have since divorced and separated. But as a little kid, my mom and my father were my world. So anything outside of them it might have been close, but it still was at a distance. Because this is my world. My mom, my dad, my little brother, that's my world. Anything outside of that is at a distance. And so it doesn't have as much of an emotional effect or hold on me at the time. And so since, my mom, my father, and they've always been there, what I'm saying? And I really appreciate them for being present in my life and being available for me in different ways. Yo, let me call you right back, G. All right. I appreciate them for being present in my life and being around and me being able to have a relationship with them, because I've had friends and, acquaintances that I've known over the years who didn't have their moms or dads in different ways. My mom didn't have her mom in different times in her life, and definitely didn't have her father. My dad didn't have his father. You know what I'm saying? So, I remember I had a homeboy named Trayvon, man, when I was a kid. And he might have been, I think I met Trayvon when I was in the 4th, 5th grade. Going into middle school. And I remember, I think Trayvon, I think his mom had cancer around that time. And he ended up losing his mom, you know what I mean? He was 10, 11 years old. He lost his mom. And, at the time, I couldn't really wrap my mind around it. But as I got older and just started thinking about, man, I wonder what that was like for him. And I didn't have the emotional maturity at 10 or 11 years old to really, be able to really truly empathize with him in a way that I'm pretty sure he really needed at that time. When I just looking at him, I remember he went to the funeral, and then it was crazy because the same day of the funeral, we used to be outside all the time. He comes skipping down to my house. He seemed to have been in a good spirit. His energy was kind of up. But I don't know if that was a mask that he had on at the time, or who knows. But when I think about it, I was just like, yo, this mushroom trip really brought up a lot of family dynamic issues, ancestral issues, particularly on my mother's side of the family. My father's side of the family too, but definitely on my mom's side of the family, because that shit is fucked up. And, you know, it really made me just sit back and look at my mom like, yo, I've seen her in this light before, but definitely on that trip, it was just like, yo, my mom is the fucking bomb.com. Like, yo, this lady is powerful. To be able to have gone through some of the things that she's gone through, and to almost, like, if you see my mom right now, my mom is 52, 53. I mean, she look like she 36. You know what I mean? Like, to see this lady and how she's navigated and traversed through these different trials and tribulations, it's like, it's jaw-dropping. It's like, yo, how did you do that? And as I was on this trip, it was just making me think about, again, that scene on the Avengers where Thanos snapped his fingers and all of the Avengers disintegrated into thin air like dust. And as I was on a mushroom trip, I was thinking about my loved ones, holding them and being gracious of their existence in my life. I was just thinking about, like, what if they just disintegrated out of my life like dust? And it was like, man, it really gave me another look at gratitude and not taking anything in your life for granted. You know, that lesson. And sometimes, you know, I think you can lose sight of that when something is always so constant in your life. You know, it's just natural that I think that, you know, it could happen to you, like, when something is so constant and you've never been without it, you could have a tendency to take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I think every so often it's so good to have that reminder that things that you have in your life that are functionable and workable, and that provides you with a sense of stability and a sense of positivity in your life, those things can be taken away. And those things don't have to be present in your existence, but they are there for you. And by them being there, it's like, you know, you want to show your gratitude for those things being present, because that is the water that allows for more of that kind of energy to appear in your life. You know, but if you disown it, or if you don't take care of it, you could lose it. And I really, man, that mushroom trip was scary. You know, it was definitely very scary, but in the sense of, it reminded me of gratitude. And I was truly appreciative of that particular mushroom trip experience. You know, I saw light. You know, it's like I saw light, or I saw love. And when I was on the mushrooms, I've had this experience before where it's like light. I noticed that light feeds the mushroom. Like, the more light you're exposed to, the more heightened the psychedelic experience becomes. And I think that's because light, you know, it traveling at 186,000 miles per second, light is filled with so much information. And so much information is within the light, and your psyche is so open to the light. You know, whether, you know, the sunlight, that's, you know, especially when you're outside, you've been exposed to a lot of natural light. It's like, it's so much information in that light that it can be overwhelming to your psyche while you're on a psychedelic. But you also become more exposed to various degrees of knowledge within that light when you're on the psychedelic mushrooms. And so the light was further revealed to me of love. And it's almost like love looks like, kind of reminds me of the Pink Floyd logo, where you got the triangle with the colors coming through the prism. It's like light is love. You know, love is light. And it's like, you can see all of the myriad of colors that exist within light. You know, just like when you see a rainbow, you know what I'm saying? The reds, the orange, the yellow, the green, the blues, the purple. Like in that band of lighters, you could that light is love. That you can see what love looks like through those colors. And it was just like, you know, it was so breathtaking, man. It was a really good trip. It was I would say one of my most memorable trips out of all of the ones that I've had up until this time. And I just say, man, you know, you have people, places, and things in your life that you have. You know, strive your best to, you know, be appreciative of it, and let the people in your life know how you feel about them, you know, so that they can know and have some sense of validation and assuredness that they know how you feel about them. They know where you stand. They know where they stand in your life. You know, sometimes people need to hear that, you know, so they can keep going. Because, you know, they may not know if they're doing a good job or not, or they may not know, you know, but by you telling them how you feel about them, it allows for them to be able to have some gauge, like, yo, I am doing a good job, or, you know, I am doing the best that I can, or I can do better, you know. So I think gratitude is very, very powerful. And you know, like I said, if you have somebody and people, places, and things, the belongings, possessions, things that you have, you know, those things can be gone in the twinkling of an eye. So, you know, be thankful that they are in your possession and that you have access to them. And so, yeah, you know, let me know, you know, about any life-changing psychedelic trips. If you're a psychedelic dabbler, if you know, dabble in psychedelics, you know, let us know, you know, what type of you know, experiences that you might have had, you know, on your psychedelic journeys. And so, yeah, tap in with me. Let's keep it going. Thank you for tuning in to Sincere's Philosophies, and let's keep it going. Peace.